is really wrong with that lady. And at this point, give her peach to anybody. I don't care who y'all give her peach to.
Roxy says we're gonna talk about it. Roxy says we're gonna talk about it.
What's up, y'all? It's your girl Roxy with Roxy Says, and we're gonna talk about it. So today, this is a review / rant, honestly, of Real Housewives of Atlanta, season 15, episode 4. Marlo, baby, is everything okay? Is everything okay? Like, what's going on? Because at this point, your obsession with Kandi and Kenya is getting weird. It's getting weird. And I don't know if you think you're giving us good TV and you think that you're the moment, or I don't know what you think it is, but you're looking crazy. You look obsessed. And at this point, we want you gone. We want you gone at this point. And you know what's crazy? The seasons where Nene was on the show and Marlo was a friend of the show, we were, well, I'm gonna speak for myself, and a lot of people were rooting for Marlo to get her peach. We were like, oh my God, give Marlo her peach. Marlo is hilarious. She's reasonable. We love her. Give Marlo her peach. And Marlo got her peach, and she's on here acting a damn fool. I'm sick of Marlo. Her behavior is ridiculous. I was sick of her from last season when she got her peach. When she was obsessed with Kenya, I was sick of her then. And now this weird reach that she's doing, trying to connect the death of her nephew to Kandi. It's low-key gross that she's waited years later to bring this trauma back up just for a storyline. It's really gross. So let's just get into the episode. Before we get into it, please hit like, comment, subscribe, join the party, okay? We like to have a good time over here, and we will chat about this episode below, okay? Because I'm sure y'all got a lot to say too. So as the episode opens up, Kenya is practicing with Monyetta. I never knew Monyetta was a choreographer. Maybe I live under a rock, but I didn't know that. She's doing that halftime show, and Kenya More Hair Care is sponsoring the show. So she wants to do like a majorette type inspired dance, and Monyetta's helping her out with that. While at the rehearsal, her boyfriend, I think his name is Ray, he calls, and Kenya is like all lovey-dovey and happy to talk to her boo, and she says that his Yelp reviews were, what did she say his Yelp reviews were? She said his Yelp reviews were 9.6, honey. She says the sex is amazing. And I'm like, okay, great, Kenya, but like, what else? Like, okay. I know in the previous episode, she says that he's great, he's caring, he's charming. Like, at this point, when women be talking about like their man, what they love about their man, and the first thing is the sex, I'm like, okay, like, that's great, but we're grown now. Like, what else? Okay. What else? I feel like the older you get, like once you at Kenya in them age, yes, sex is great, right? Good sex is amazing, but that should not be at the top of the list, okay? I'm sorry. After you turn 40, 50, something, like the sex could be top 5, but it's not the number. It shouldn't be the number one thing on your list. Like, y'all are grown. That's just my opinion, okay? So Kenya invites the girls to come to Birmingham. Is it Birmingham? Kenya invites the girls to come to Birmingham to see her performance, but she doesn't quite tell them 100% of what the event is going to be. She wants to give them a little bit of a surprise, you know, the way that she crashed Marlo's event years ago with the
Kenya More Hair Care.
She doesn't want to tell them exactly what she's doing because she wants to have that wow factor. Okay, now we got Sanya. Sanya really irritated me with this scene. And this solidified that not only does Sanya lack a backbone when it comes to speaking up for her friends or remaining neutral, like just remaining neutral, she can't even do that. But on top of that, she also lacks a backbone when it comes to her family. So Sanya's in a meeting with her sister, Chare, and her mother, and she calls, what's his name? Tyrell, Share's husband, Sanya's assistant. And, you know, she's telling him, oh, did you do those returns? Did you do this? Did you do that? Apparently, he's like a little errand boy, honestly. Like, he's an assistant, but he's like running errands, doing returns for her. And I'm like, that's not going to end well. And we do see later in the episode, he quit. Who didn't see that coming? But when she gets off of the phone with Tyrell, Sanya begins to tell her mother and sister that Ross, not Ross and I, but Ross wants them to kind of separate from her sister and her mother and just to have their own small family unit, just Sanya, Ross, and Baby Deuce. First of all, Ross and Sanya didn't even make any concrete decisions, right? This was just a conversation where Ross was expressing his feelings to Sanya. So to bring it up to your sister and your mother so prematurely when you know how they're gonna react, right? And then on top of that, instead of saying, this is something that Ross and I are considering, she presents it as something that Ross wants to do. And she tells them,
I want you to stay. I want you to stay.
but this is what Ross wants. Listen, if I was Ross, that would piss me off. That would piss me off because you're making Ross look like the bad guy. And instead of holding that info down until you and Ross actually decided how you want to move forward, you present it to your mother and sister and put it all on Ross. Why would you cause unnecessary friction between your husband and your mother and sister? It was unnecessary. I didn't like that at all. Next thing, we have Marlo and her nephew. She's doing a Halloween photo shoot. Apparently, it's something that she does annually with her nephews. This is one of the scenes in the episode that had me looking at Marlo like, girl, what are you talking about? So Marlo is getting her makeup done. Her sister comes. I'm assuming this is the sister that Marlo shipped the boys off to be with for a couple of months. So Marlo was letting her sister know that because of all of her, previous arrests and everything that she's got into in her past, because of her record, she cannot have weapons in her home. And we know that Marlo's home was broken into not too long ago, like a year or two ago, where 4 masked gunmen kicked her door in. So she wants to be able to have weapons in her home so she can protect herself and her nephews. And I totally understand she wants to feel safe. You want to be ready, right? You want to stay ready so you don't have to get ready. If someone kicking your door, they're going to get something hot, right? So I don't blame her for wanting to have weapons in her home to feel safe, to feel protected. I totally get it. So in order to regain that right to have weapons in her home, she needs to have her record expunged. So that is something that she's currently working on. How Kandi is brought up in this conversation is beyond me. But of course, Marlo is going to reach and she's going to find a way, right? So she says,
Kandi is worldwide. Kandi claims to help the community and do this. Kandi never tried to get my record expunged.
And I'm like, girl, what are you talking about? Why is it on Kandi to get your record expunged? So Courtney walks in and apparently I guess Courtney is going to assist Marlo with getting her record expunged. Like, okay, thank you, Courtney. Awesome job. I don't know why that's not something that Marlo could just do on her own. She needs Kandi to help her. She needs Courtney to help her. Like, girl, if it's that serious, you're going to get it done. You don't need no one to help you. You're going to figure it out and you're going to get it done, right? Okay, I'm just saying. So Courtney walks in and they start talking about Marlo's nephew who was unalived a couple years back, right? So she brings up the shooting again and says, Kandi didn't send flowers. Kandi didn't go to the funeral and Kandi should have done more because her nephew who was unalived worked at OLG and the guy who did it, who shot him, also worked at OLG, right? Interestingly enough, I was watching Kandi speak on it and she basically did the rundown of Marlo's nephew's work history at OLG. She also let us know that the person who shot him did not work at OLG. It was only Marlo's nephew who worked at OLG. He worked there for a short period of time. Kandi met him once at a holiday Christmas party that the company had. And right after that, in December, after that holiday party, she was in LA for a couple of months. She was shooting The Masked Singer. And then after that, it was the Panorama. OLG was closed. Kandi said that to say, like, she could have done more, but she didn't really know him, right? And that's fair. Of course, Marlo would have wanted Kandi to, I don't know, maybe she wanted Kandi to pay for the whole funeral. I don't know. But do I think that what Kandi did was appropriate for a boss to do for an employee? Yeah, like she didn't know him personally. Does every boss and CEO keep up with the ins and outs of the lives of all of their employees? No. Maybe Marlo felt that Kandi would have done more because off of the strength of her, but Kandi didn't, right? And because Kandi didn't, that doesn't mean that she's the reason for the shooting. That doesn't mean that she is cultivating a culture or a work environment where people are just shooting each other, which is what Courtney implied, which is ridiculous, right? So anyone who gets shot at one of Kandi's establishments, that's Kandi's fault. Like people wasn't shooting each other before. Does that make any sense? So if one of the housewives shoot each other, is that Andy Cohen's fault? Does that make any sense? You're trying to connect Kandi to this and make her look bad, and it's really unwarranted, and you look crazy doing it. You really look crazy, Marlo. Marlo's like, we need to investigate why Kandi is having all of these shootings. It's not on Kandi. It's on the people who are pulling the trigger. How is Kandi getting blamed for the actions of grown-ass men? How is that on Kandi? Marlo. Oh, and another thing, on Kandi Speak On It, she said that the conversation that Marlo showed was kind of missing some things in the text messages. Kandi did say, oh my gosh, damn, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry about what happened to your nephew. That's horrible. So Kandi showed her text to show that she did send her condolences, and she did tell Marlo that she was sorry about what happened. And then a couple days later, Marlo sent Kandi a link to sign up for Cameo. You know, Cameo is that thing where a lot of celebrities, like, you can pay them to say happy birthday to a loved one, you know, stuff like that. And even after that, Marlo and Kandi have seen each other. They've had numerous conversations, interactions, and Marlo never brought it up that she felt a way about Kandi not going to the funeral, that she felt a way about Kandi not sending her flowers. Marlo never brought this up. She held on to this years later to bring that trauma back up for her family just so she can have a storyline. And Candy's like, that's really messed up. And I agree. I think that's really messed up. I feel like Marlo is not as hurt or triggered by Kandi as she's trying to make it seem. This is really purely a storyline for her. I'm so over Marlo. Like, seriously, I'm over her. Next scene, we have Chare. She's at the doctor. She's getting her fibroids checked out. I'm really happy that they put this scene in the show because a lot of women in our community deal with fibroids. I have numerous women in my family who had surgery for their fibroids, a lot of women who are still suffering with it. So I'm happy that they showed this clip to, you know, let women know that there are options and solutions to help with fibroids. If having to see Chare was the price to pay to get some information that would benefit the women in the community, I'll take that. I'm cool with it. Thank you, Chare, for your services. Sanya has a photo shoot. She says that her sister was supposed to do her hair, but she did not show up. Sanya doesn't really believe that her sister is sick, as she says that she is. And I'm like, did you book your sister to do your hair? Or was it just like a favor? Like, what were the logistics behind your hair being done by your sister? Like, I'm curious, okay? And in this scene, Sanya also lets us know that her brother-in-law Tyrell quit and that it's caused a strain on her and her sister's relationship. Duh. Like, yeah, that's her sister's man. She gonna take her man's side, right? Her sister already feels like you've been selfish. And then on top of that, you told her sister that Ross wants them to get the hell out of the house. So yeah, it's gonna be a lot of drama. And a lot of that is because of you, Sanya, honestly. So the ladies are getting ready to go to Birmingham. They're all meeting up at Chare's house, which is really close to Kenya's house. The ladies are meeting up for 10:15. Drew isn't going because she has the flu, okay? Candy's not going because she is going to an Ebony Top 100 event where she's being honored there. So Kenya is like alone, like her two besties are not gonna be there to support her. So she gotta deal with these other heifers all by herself. Marlo arrives last, of course. She gets on the bus. What was that nasty ass hacking cough that Marlo had going on? That shit was so nasty. I'd have been like, girl, you need to go to the back row with that shit because that sounds disgusting and you're not about to get me sick, okay? I can't afford to be sick. So you need to get your ass to the back of the bus with that nasty cough. It sounded disgusting. Sanya tells the girls that she has to go back to Atlanta to do like an interview and then she's gonna go back to Alabama. Okay, whatever. What else is going on? On the bus ride, the girls are laughing and joking about eating booty. You know, we know Kenya said that she ate booty and all the other girls is like, oh my God, you ate booty. I would never eat booty. Okay, whatever. I think y'all all ate booty. Next. So the ladies finally arrive and they do like a little dance class. They learn some little majorette moves and stuff like that. I will say this, Marlo looked damn good, okay? She was dropping it and she came back up. Some people could drop it. They can't come back up. Marlo dropped it and she brought it back up. Okay, we love to see it. For some reason, I feel like Chare is a lot taller than she. Whenever I see Chare next to the other women, I'm always like, oh, Chare is not tall. I don't know why I think Chare is so tall in my mind. And then when I'm always reminded that she's a little shorty pie. Manyetta and Kenya let the ladies know they're going to have a bucking competition. So while Manyetta and Kenya break off into the other room, the ladies are practicing so they could get their moves together so that they can win whatever the secret prize is going to be for whoever wins this competition. And Marlo was like, oh, where did Kenya go with her little emotional support dog? Why did Marlo call Manyetta an emotional support dog? Listen, I screamed, okay? I'm not gonna lie. That was funny. When Manyetta and Kenya came back, all the girls, you know, they had the competition. Chare won the competition, but in my opinion, Marlo should have won the competition. Marlo was way better than Chare, but the prize was a sweet, so we're gonna get to that later. The prize was a sweet And Kenya was not giving a sweet to Marlo, so she gave it to her girl, Chare. Okay, like Marlo should have won that though. Marlo, I'll give you that. You should have won that. So the ladies go to dinner and Courtney's baby daddy, Bryce, the member from Groove Theory, he calls and like, are they in a situationship? Before I thought that she was just clout chasing by bringing Bryce to Drew and Ralph's house for no reason. But it looks like they are in some type of dating situationship because he calling her like, when you coming home. Their kid is grown, so he can't be calling her because she needs to come home and watch a baby, right? They got a grown 24-something-year-old. So it looks like they are still in some type of situationship. I remember on the bus when Kenya asked her if she got a man, she said it's complicated. I'm like, girl, y'all are too grown. Y'all are too grown for these situationships. It's complicated. Baby, situationships is like in your 20s. I'll give you up to 30, okay? After that, you can't be in no situationships. Like, it either is or it isn't, okay? Don't let these niggas play with you when you grown, okay? Don't let them do it. Don't let them do it. We too grown, baby. We too grown for that. No situationships after 31. I'll give you 31. After that, no situationships, okay? No. But Kenya is like, oh, I know, Bryce. We were in a movie together, blah, blah, blah. And did they ask Kenya if they ever messed around or something? I think the producers asked her if they ever messed around. And Kenya's like, he was very fine in the 90s. I'll leave it at that. He was fine in the 90s. But we all aged and we not all gonna look like we looked in our 20s. He was fine. Does he look the same? No. But who looks the same? Kenya don't look the same like she looked in the 90s. Like, no one's gonna look the same, okay? So we can't really come for nobody. We all gonna age. It's gonna happen to all of us. It is what it is. So while they're eating at the table, Kenya brings up the situation that happened with Drew and Marlo, right? We know in the last episode, Marlo yelled at Drew, yelled up in her face like a psycho, and just stormed out, right? So obviously, Drew told Kenya about that situation. Now, mind you, Kenya was not there, right? So while Kenya is talking about it, Marlo interjects and she's like, like, what situation? Like, what are you talking about? And Kenya is like, don't talk over me. That's rude. And Marlo was like, no, I'm going to talk over you. I can talk over you if I want to. And I'm like, oh, here we go. I knew that them being cordial could only last but for so long. Okay. I'm like, let's go. Kenya's like, look, I haven't been rude to you this entire time, but Drew said that you were standing over her and you were being aggressive. They play the tape back. Marlo was not standing over Drew. No, but was she being aggressive? Yes. And Marlo says that she wasn't being aggressive. Girl, you got in that girl's face and started yelling. That's not aggressive to you? So now we see that y'all don't understand what's aggression. Because if Marlo thinks her behavior was not aggressive, that would explain why Marlo didn't think that Martel's behavior was aggressive. Y'all don't know what it is. Okay. Marlo deflects and she's like, oh, Kenya, you're just trying to boss everyone around. Like, what does that have to do with anything? Like, the thing with Marlo and Kenya is when they go at it, Kenya is way better at paying Marlo dust and leaving Marlo there looking like a crazy person. Kenya is really good at that. And I think all women should learn how to do that. We should all, I know how to do it. I'm just saying, everyone should learn how to, when you're in a situation with someone, how to make someone look crazy. Oh, it's beautiful. It's so empowering to just sit there and look at someone and say, hey, you need to calm down. I've been nothing but kind to you, and just let them look crazy. It's really a skill. It's really a skill to not get out of character and let someone else act a fool. And you just sit there like, what's wrong with her? She's crazy. So the ladies go to their room, and I'm sorry, Kenya, Chare's suite, that's not a suite. That was not a suite. I don't know if that's a suite for where they were. No shade to Birmingham. I'm just saying that was not a suite, Kenya. We already know that Kenya is not the best host. Remember years ago when I forgot where they went, but they had to order their own Uber Eats. That hotel was not it. Marlo's mad because her room has a little mini champagne bottle. She got to point that out. The hotel was trash to me. Okay. I agree. But Kenya could have had them at the best of the best, and Marlo would have still found something wrong. She would be like,
this water don't even get hot enough.
She would have found a problem with something, I guarantee you. So it's time for the ladies to go to this event that Kenya's been talking about this whole time, and she says it's going to be real fancy or whatever. Manietta comes downstairs in a hoochie mama onesie. It's not even that bad. It was just a silver onesie with some silver shoes. Did not look like she was going to a charity event. She didn't. She looked like she was going to a party. Okay. And Kenya's like, Manyetta, this is a classy event. Like, you cannot wear that. Please find something to wear. Manyetta's like, look, this is all I got. Like, this is what I brought. That's all I got. Chare has on like a leopard print, like a long dress. Kenya has on a dress with like this floral thing. Kenya, they all look nice, but Manyetta definitely looks like she was dressed for a different occasion. Come to find out, Manyetta could have kept what the fuck she had on, okay? They would soon find out that Manyetta was dressed appropriately. Only Chare and Courtney make it down in time. Manyetta also made it on time, but she calls Kenya and she's like, hey, Kenya, I'm gonna go get a little black dress to wear. And Kenya's like, okay, Manyetta, well, I can't be late, so you're going to have to meet us there. So Kenya leaves, and it's only herself, obviously, Chare and Courtney on the bus. She does thank them for being on time, and Marlo and Sanya are late. When Kenya, Courtney, and Chare arrive to the event, Manyetta is there, so she arrived the same time. She's like, well, damn, y'all could have waited for me because we got there the same damn time. So when the ladies walk in, the event was not all that. It is not at all what Kenya hyped it up to be. Like, it looks very casual. Yeah, some women have on heels and stuff, but people have on bubble jackets. Like, it is not at all what Kenya said it was going to be. And Chare told Manyetta, girl, you could have kept your damn shorts on. And she really could have, like I said. She really, really could have. Kenya actually looked overdressed for the occasion, in my opinion. She really did. So Marlo and Sanya finally arrive, and Marlo goes up to the bar and she's like,
hi, are you the manager? Yeah, our friends left us, so we want to send them champagne so that they know how to...
Girl, shut up. Are you the manager? Our friends left us, so we just want to send champagne, girl. And then Kenya's at the table. She's like, is that Sanya? Hey, Sanya. And then, Sanya don't know what to do. So Sanya goes over to the table with Kenya and them and just leaves Marlo at the bar looking like a dumbass ordering champagne because her friends left her. In Sanya's confessional, she's like, oh, I thought we were showing up to the Met. Is this it? I'm like, girl, that's what you would have worn to the Met? You shaded yourself, not Kenya, because that's what you would have worn to the Met? Okay, Sanya. All right. So Marlo comes over to the table and she has the champagne and I'm like, oh, thank you for the champagne. And she's like, yeah, I'm just trying to show y'all how it's supposed to be done, not with plastic cups. And in Marlo's confessional, she's comparing this event and this trip to when she had the trip and she had 24-hour chefs and she had this and she had that. I think another thing that we're getting tired of with Marlo, in addition to her being crazy, is that she's so materialistic. She's so focused on fashions and on price tags. There's nothing wrong with like being proud of what you're able to afford, but Marlo seems so shallow. Everything is a comparison about labels, about prices for this, about cars. Like, it's so overdone. It's like, Marlo, what else? Do you have anything else to you? Do you find worth in yourself in anything outside of the labels that you have on? Outside of what you're able to afford? I feel like that's what she eats for dinner. Like, that's what keeps her alive. Being able to put on labels and being able to put other women down for not being able to wear labels or wearing fake labels or not being able to, not staying at the best hotels or not affording what she can afford. Half of the time when Marlo was speaking, I'm like, girl, shut the fuck up. She's someone who will go to a wedding and just talk shit the whole time. The whole time. Like, that's what she does. That's the type of person that she is. So the producers come over to Kenya and she says, like, they want us to leave because at this point, people aren't focusing on the charity event, but everyone is focused on you guys because of the cameras, the mics. We're causing too much of a scene, so we have to leave. Kenya in her confessional says that she wasn't kicked out, but production was kicked out. And I'm like, Kenya, you didn't tell these people that you shoot a reality show and that you're going to be filming this event. Production is going to be there. Like, that was strange to me because I'm like, y'all invited Kenya Moore. She's on Real Housewives of Atlanta. Of course, production is going to also be at this event to put this on the show. That was strange to me. It was really weird. But Kenya goes over to the table and she tells the ladies, like, we gotta go because we're causing too much of a scene. The attention is on us and it's not where it's supposed to be. We are a distraction. So the girls are getting ready to leave and they're not happy about it. Of course, because they just got dressed and everything to come to this event. only to be kicked out like 20 minutes later. And if I was Monyetta, I would have been extra pissed, bitch. I had on my silver Hoochie Mama jumpsuit. You made me go get a black dress. You left me. I had to come here myself. And then we getting kicked out 20 minutes later, bitch. I would have been irritated, okay? And Marlo thinks it's just the funniest thing. She's like, oh, this is karma for trying to control us all day. Who was trying to control you all? Marlo, what do Marlo be talking about? Who was trying to control y'all all day? What are you talking about? Because she set a time for you guys to arrive, for the bus to leave. That's controlling y'all? No, that she just gave you an itinerary for the trip. So if you go on a girls trip and whoever planned the itinerary for the trip tells you the times of where you need to be, that's controlling you? Okay, moving on. So the ladies are downstairs. Kenya has already went back up to her room and the ladies are like, okay, let's go see what's going on with Kenya. Like, let's go check on her. So they go to her hotel door and they're knocking the door. And then Marlo goes and kicks the door, right? And then Chare runs and kicks the door and then runs away. And then Kenya blows the hell up and you can hear her. She's like, who the hell is that banging on my goddamn door? She opens the door. She is visibly pissed off. She's like, my damn kid is in here. While Kenya is visibly upset and telling her, my daughter is in here, stop banging on my door, Marlo is at the door still banging the door. Summer. And Kenya's like, what is wrong with you, right? Kenya slams the door and she's like, I'm gonna call the police on you because you're acting crazy. The other ladies have enough sense and they're like, oh, let's chill out. Her daughter's in there. They didn't know Brooklyn was in the room. And Marlo's like, F that. She goes back and bangs on the door again. She's like, put Brooklyn in another room and you need to come out here with your disrespectful broke ass. What? Now, there were talks on social media with people discussing if Kenya took it too far by calling the police or by threatening to call the police. Do I think that Kenya was in immediate danger? No, I don't. There are cameras there. There's a production staff there. There's security. We saw the security ran out last week when Marlo got up in Drew's face. So we know that there's security there. Do I think that Kenya would have been right to drag the fuck out of Marlo? Yes, I do. Marlo is unhinged. From what she did with Drew in the last episode to this, after Kenya told her that her daughter was in the room, and for her to still act like that. All of the other ladies had enough sense and respect, like, oh, let's chill out. We didn't know Brooklyn was in there. Not Marlo. Something is really wrong with that lady. And at this point, give her peach to anybody. I don't care who y'all give her peach to. Just take it away. I don't want to see Marlo anymore. I don't want to see her on Real Housewives of Atlanta. And it sucks because when she got her peach, I was really excited for her. But her behavior is gross. Monyetta would make a better housewife than Marlo. And Monyetta is actually a Real Housewife of Atlanta. Like, she really is. You saw on IG when they were going back and forth, Monyetta was calling Marlo canned peaches, bitch. Listen, tell me what y'all think below about this episode. I will say this episode definitely kept me more entertained than last episode, right? They redeemed themselves for me with this episode. Do you think that the cast still needs a complete shakeup, or do you think it's just Marlo that needs to go? I think Marlo needs to go. I think Sanya needs to go. I'm done with Courtney. I don't need to see Courtney either. I really want Nene to come back. Nene is Real Housewives of Atlanta. Like, I want Nene to come back. I want Portia to come back. I want Phaedra to come back. Like, this show needs something because a lot of people have tuned out this season. A lot of people are like, it's just not doing it for them. So a shakeup is definitely needed. Tell me your thoughts below. If you didn't already, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see y'all in the next video. Bye.
Roxy says we're gonna talk about it.